Hi, everyone. My name is Yumi Chin, and I'm the co-founder and CMO of Archive. Let me start with Mark Williams. Meet Mark Williams. He's the assistant football coach and also a class checker. So what does his day look like? When he's not on the football field training his football athletes, he spends most of his time going around different classrooms to make sure that his football players are showing up to their classes. Welcome to 2016. This is how attendance is taken care of in higher education settings. This is where Archive comes in to save everyone's time. Archive's attendance tracking app that uses geolocation gives easy access to both students and administrators and instructors with real-time attendance data, which can be exported as spreadsheets on any of the devices. Here's how it works. Our app is available both as mobile app and also a web app. As soon as students check into their classes on their mobile devices, check in their classrooms, their attendance data are immediately transferred over to the admins or instructor's dashboard. Our app is designed for different demographics. Not only does it serve the traditional classroom settings for professors and students, but also it serves the purpose and need of athletic departments who are required to track and monitor their student athletes' attendance to abide by NCAA policies and also some of the institutional needs. Our app is also used outside of the traditional classroom settings by student organizations and surprisingly by fraternity and sorority chapters that take their members' attendance every day almost religiously. Higher education market is growing every year. We see the increase of college education enrollment every year. We're looking at 20.2 million college students today in the United States alone. And because higher education market is growing every year, we also see a significant growth in higher education technology market. So we have identified a few of our competitors. Top Hat, CourseKey, and iClicker. I'm sure some of the professors here in the audience are very familiar with iClicker. They're the ones who provide attendance management solution in typical traditional classroom settings. And there's ClassCheck, who delivers their product only to athletic departments. What does Archive do? We don't focus on single groups. We actually focus on more on range of groups and users. We work with classrooms, athletic departments, and also sorority and fraternity chapters, and also recently with Christian universities, which require chapel attendance all throughout 4 years of college students' life. That's their graduation requirement. So we have about 1,500 students checking in with our mobile app every day during their chapel. And we also work with college summer programs that are specially tailored for high school students. And because these high school students are minors, the admins are required to track their attendance. We are looking at two main sources of revenues. Our main revenue, our main channel of monetization this year is through licensing fee, which is acquired by college athletic departments, academic department, and also college summer programs tailored for high school students. Our second source of revenue comes from premium members who pay $10 a month to upgrade their plan, and they get access to more analytical data tools, excusal requests, cold calls, and messaging tools within their classrooms. Archive was launched last year, exactly 1 year ago, actually, fall 2015. And when we started with Southern California-based schools, and we had 23 instructors back then. Archive is really taking off this year. Fall semester began on August 22nd. And not only have we brought more instructors and students from these schools in California, but we're really expanding and brought all these schools from across the nation. We currently have instructors and students from over 45 institutions, and that number is growing because a lot of schools on the East Coast and quarter system schools haven't started yet. Thank you. So over the span of last 3 weeks, since August 22nd, we have 170 new professors who joined on board, and that number is growing every day. And we have a total of over 17,000 students, again, growing every day. And we also signed our first deals with 6 athletic departments from both Division I and Division II schools. And one of the schools actually signed our vendor agreement on the day that we pitched over the phone. The coach said, I want to take this app. So they're on board. The next 2 years, Archive is going to focus on expanding and growing our user base. And as we grow our user base, what we're trying to do is collect their academic data. And we're going to focus on their major choices and the courses they're taking toward their major and their graduation. And we're hoping that data will take us to the next phase, which will be building a platform that'll allow students to navigate and plan their academic and professional careers. Surprisingly, college academic counseling is still done on a piece of paper manually. That's what I actually used to do here at UCLA. And we're hoping that our tool will replace that and help students build their own career planning. And we're looking into raising funding at the end of this year and early next year because we're really taking off. We really need the money to grow further. This is our team, our dream team that's building this dream together. My name is Yumi Chin. I got my PhD in education from UCLA literally yesterday. I met my summer filing deadline. Thank you. So I bring in my experience from higher education, research, and college academic counseling. And my co-founder, Joe Kim, he brings in his experience in finance and previous startup business. We also brought 3 members to the team earlier this year. We now have in-house full stack developers, Sripadak, and also Amy Miramontes and Kyle Wilcots, who are working on communications, marketing, and sales. We all wear multiple hats on our team. So we truly believe now is the time that academia should move forward and incorporate technology as much as possible to save time and make things easier. And Archive is here to make that happen. We move higher education forward. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I've been playing games all my life. I grew up playing games like Mario, Zelda, Halo, the list goes on. Games with big budgets and big effects. But as I started to go through college, I noticed something change. There were really popular games out there that didn't have big budgets. Indie games. Games like Limbo with 8 developers and 10 million in revenue. Super Meat Boy with 2 developers and 7 million in revenue. Braid, made by 1 guy and 6 million in revenue. So what really caused these games to rise? Ease of digital distribution, thanks to a multi-billion-dollar platform called Steam. If you put a game on there, you can potentially reach millions of customers with little to no overhead. So I saw this as an opportunity to both start my own business and pursue my dream of being in the game industry. So I experimented for over a year with different game ideas, and then it hit me. I'm sure you've seen something like this before. If you look at the white, it's a vase. If you look at the black, it's a couple of silhouettes. This is the idea of negative space. And negative space, I realized, was not something that had been used much in games to date. So I decided to make it the basis for my game, The Rabbit and the Owl. The Rabbit and the Owl is a cooperative puzzle game in which you play a white rabbit and a black owl in opposite worlds of light and dark, where the shifting of one environment inversely affects the other. They have to help each other reach their goals without ever directly interacting. I wanted the game to be a contemplative representation of an important part of life, our relationships with each other. You can be opposite but symbiotic, so close yet so far away. I've worked hard to create a game that is not only fun but reflects upon real-life experiences that I think will strike a chord with many people. So how do we know that this game is any good? Let's go back to that Steam platform that I talked about earlier. And to get on Steam, you have to go through a process called Steam Greenlight, which is curated directly by gamers themselves. On Greenlight, we ended up at the top 1% of games, had a 97% positive feedback ratio, and we were greenlit in just 13 days. We've shown our game at various events, garnering high enthusiasm from kids to adults, casual to hardcore gamers. And we even got some very passionate fans. Finally, the most important indication that the game is any good is we were just at an event in Seattle this past weekend called PAX. And if you're unfamiliar, PAX is the largest gaming convention in the US with over 80,000 attendees a year. Gamers and industry figures alike were all there to see the best games, and it's extremely curated and prestigious to get into, as we were one of 22 independent developers selected by PAX staff to showcase their game out of thousands. We directly demoed the game to over 600 people, and the vast majority of them loved it. The emphasis on a casual cooperative experience really made it a big hit. In fact, many people came back multiple times to show their friends and family. So what's our competition looking like? On Steam, there are about 3,000 games released annually, but only 70 of them are puzzle platformers, which is our type of genre. And you can think of puzzle platformers as sort of like Mario, but instead of jumping over Goombas, you solve puzzles to move on to the next level. So of the 70, only about half of them are a fully featured type game. So our direct competition is relatively small compared to the space. We are targeting about 1 million indie gamers who play puzzle platformers out of a total pool of about 25 million indie gamers, a number that's growing every day. However, as a game starts to do better, it tends to move outside of its initial target audience, so we do have the potential to reach this broader 25 million user base. So I'm Gary Chow, founder of Formal Sheep. I'm the programmer, biz dev, and developer. My friend Justin Olson helps me with the level design. We are both UCLA alums, and we have some great contractors working on the art, music, and sound for the game to bring it to life. We've been bootstrapped with about $9,000 spent over 12 months so far, and we are aiming for a Q1 release of next year at a price point of about $10 a copy. We are also on Kickstarter for the entire month of September right now. We actually launched last Thursday, and in less than 5 days, we reached our initial funding goal. But we are pushing to reach these stretch goals so that we can continue to add new features to the game and polish it even more. So our company is Formal Sheep. The game is The Rabbit and the Owl. There's a lot of animals, I know. But we do have a booth outside if you want to try the game for yourself or if you have any questions. And if you do like the game, you can pre-order the game right now on Kickstarter by backing us at formalsheep.com/Kickstarter. Thank you.
My name is Ray Christian, and I'm the CEO of Techspert. And like most great stories, this one starts with a girl. And I was smitten, but she was giving me the cold shoulder. I couldn't get the third date, and I'd given up. And then about a week later, I was out with my little sister, and she enlightened me with some advice. And within 30 minutes, I actually got that date. And my sister's not a life coach or a therapist, but she told me exactly what I needed to hear. And it dawned on me at that point that there's good advice all around us. We just don't have access to it. There are 32 million young women between the ages of 15 and 35 in the US alone on their smartphones every single day. And this largely underserved audience, they want advice, but they don't want the spotlight of social media or awkward in-person conversations. In addition, you've got 787 million worldwide of these young women in the same demographic. They go to their smartphones every day, and 56% of the time, when they want advice, that's where they're going, 57. The problem is, 88% of the time when they do that, they have a negative experience. Because there's no platform that's focused on advice that's also remained positive and a friendly vibe. So we created Techspert, a revolutionary way to exchange advice with anonymous friends. Really simple. Go on the app and post a question, any question, anonymously, and you'll get answers from Techsperts that have been rated and vetted on the app. Or you can turn around and give advice, help somebody out, drop some knowledge. Imagine being able to access a world of people that want to help you at any time, right at your fingertips. These types of exchanges all across the world are happening every day on Techspert. The key, though, is that it has to be positive, has to be the right vibe. So how do we do that? Well, we created a very unique feature set. There's two ways to use Techspert. One, public advice. Go post publicly and have the whole crowd discuss your question. But more importantly, we have a very unique private section. And this is where we have the ability to kind of get an increased level of discretion. And more importantly, this actually kills the incentive for any bullying and any trolling. This is the answer for life's everyday challenges and questions. And the fun part is, when you have compelling questions answered with heartfelt responses, you get a really interesting byproduct. And that is a treasure trove of user-generated content that you can read, relate to, maybe even be entertained by. Techspert is already changing lives every single day. We have users going on the app asking about a crush a month ago that today are asking about admissions to college. And in the future are going to be asking about their boss, maybe even their kids. This is the answer. And the interesting thing is, when you have complex, real-world questions that get answers from tens of thousands of nuanced responses, and those responses are then voted on and rated, you get a really interesting byproduct. You have a huge body of data that shows how humans problem solve in text format. This is the perfect fuel for machine learning and AI. So the stakes are high, but nobody's really solved the problem. Natter, they didn't solve this private feature for one-to-one advice to maintain the positive vibe. Sensei, there's no way to really brand yourself and connect with the community. Yik Yak, far too negative. And Whisper, not focused enough. Techspert is the company that has solved this riddle. If I could succinctly describe this team, it's my second family. They are A players top to bottom. You have CPAs, MBAs, former Marines, brilliant engineers, startup experience with an exit. You've got industry titans on the advisory list. The hustle and the grit of this team is the reason why this will succeed. We already have 35,000 downloads and over 50,000 pieces of advice exchanged, represented in 15 countries worldwide. What will fuel us at scale is really virality and traditional marketing. But for now, we created a unique marketing hack on social media that has completely streamlined our marketing funnel. For reference, most apps pay typically about $1.50 to $2 for a download to get a new customer. We're paying 25 cents. And on top of that, we have 66% App Store conversion. What that means is people that view the store who actually downloads. And that number in context is actually 6 times the industry average. We recently rebuilt the app and re-released it into the wild. And we're already seeing a 120% increase in weekly retention, and probably more importantly, a 265% increase in activity in the app. The proof is in the pudding. We've done all this pre-seed. We're helping thousands of young women, but we want to help millions. And this is why we're asking for $800,000 to accomplish our one-year goals, and on top of that, continue hacking the marketing channels, and also continue advancing our technology, such as a predictive algorithm for matching advice, integration into platforms like Facebook Messenger and Slack. And this is just the beginning. We are going to change the way the world asks for advice. So come join us.
So this is Jackie, seen here having the time of her life in the middle of a jumping photo. What isn't pictured here is her landing and falling and tearing her ACL immediately after this picture was taken. So unlike professional athletes, Jackie doesn't have an entire team of physical therapists and athletic trainers helping her through the rehabilitation process. At most, she goes into the clinic, is shown how to do her exercises, is given a list on a piece of paper, and is sent home to work through them by herself. This is a predicament that faces 9 million people who injure themselves every year. So we decided to see what things were like on the side of the physical therapist. And what we learned is that they're still using tools from the Stone Age, as one of our advisors put it. This right here is a goniometer, and it's used to measure the range of motion of a patient's knee joint. One of the biggest issues with this tool is that there's up to 4 degrees of discrepancy depending on who takes the measurement, making it really difficult to track patient progress over time. So we decided to bring physical therapy into the digital age. We created a dual sensor wearable that can help track things such as range of motion, velocity, and rep count, to name a few. All of this is then displayed in the companion iOS app, which also provides daily exercise reminders to keep patients motivated and provides instructional videos so that patients no longer just have to rely on a piece of paper. Another really exciting aspect of our wearable is all the data that we will be collecting from patients as they go through rehab. A lot of physical therapists have expressed interest in being able to use that data to gain more knowledge about the exercises that they've prescribed to their patients and being able to modify and tweak them and take action into making those exercises a lot more efficient. So right now, we're finishing up our first prototype. We started building our product in July, so it's really exciting in the progress we made in the last 10 weeks. We decided to focus on just one joint to start with, which is the knee. We plan on being able to use the same dual sensor technology throughout other joints in the body in the future. So there are two components to our product. The wearable device itself, which is $15, and the companion iOS app, which is for free on the App Store. We'll be providing both of these to the physical therapist, who will then give the wearable device to the patient, will download the app onto the patient's smartphone, and pick the correct exercise regimen for their injury. The patient will then pay a $5 per week subscription fee to be able to use the wearable device and the app, so we're looking at about a 3-week payback period. There are a couple other companies who are working in the physical therapy space. They're pretty much focused on the software side of things right now and not so much on the wearable device itself, but we feel that having a wearable really helps keep patients compliant and really helps the physical therapist track what their patients are doing while they're not in the clinic. So helping me build this product is my co-founder, Priscilla Chang, who is working on the hardware and the firmware, and Stephen Link, who is our iOS developer, and myself, Liz Mazmanian, working on business development. And we have a team of advisors, Carrie Pregram, who works at the UCLA Medical Center as a physical therapist, and Matthew Hilton, who is a physical therapist at the University of Delaware. We are Momentum, and we are improving rehabilitation by bridging the gap between what happens at the clinic and what happens at home. If you're interested in seeing a demo, come talk to us after. Thank you. So this is Jackie, seen here having the time of her life in the middle of a jumping photo. What isn't pictured here is her landing and falling and tearing her ACL immediately after this picture was taken. So unlike professional athletes, Jackie doesn't have an entire team of physical therapists and athletic trainers helping her through the rehabilitation process. At most, she goes into the clinic, is shown how to do her exercises, is given a list on a piece of paper, and is sent home to work through them by herself. This is a predicament that faces 9 million people who injure themselves every year. So we decided to see what things were like on the side of the physical therapist. And what we learned is that they're still using tools from the Stone Age, as one of our advisors put it. This right here is a goniometer, and it's used to measure the range of motion of a patient's knee joint. One of the biggest issues with this tool is that there's up to 4 degrees of discrepancy depending on who takes the measurement, making it really difficult to track patient progress over time. So we decided to bring physical therapy into the digital age. We created a dual sensor wearable that can help track things such as range of motion, velocity, and rep count, to name a few. All of this is then displayed in the companion iOS app, which also provides daily exercise reminders to keep patients motivated and provides instructional videos so that patients no longer just have to rely on a piece of paper. Another really exciting aspect of our wearable is all the data that we will be collecting from patients as they go through rehab. A lot of physical therapists have expressed interest in being able to use that data to gain more knowledge about the exercises that they've prescribed to their patients and being able to modify and tweak them and take action into making those exercises a lot more efficient. So right now, we're finishing up our first prototype. We started building our product in July, so it's really exciting in the progress we made in the last 10 weeks. We decided to focus on just one joint to start with, which is the knee. We plan on being able to use the same dual sensor technology throughout other joints in the body in the future. So there are two components to our product. The wearable device itself, which is $15, and the companion iOS app, which is for free on the App Store. We'll be providing both of these to the physical therapist, who will then give the wearable device to the patient, will download the app onto the patient's smartphone, and pick the correct exercise regimen for their injury. The patient will then pay a $5 per week subscription fee to be able to use the wearable device and the app, so we're looking at about a 3-week payback period. There are a couple other companies who are working in the physical therapy space. They're pretty much focused on the software side of things right now and not so much on the wearable device itself, but we feel that having a wearable really helps keep patients compliant and really helps the physical therapist track what their patients are doing while they're not in the clinic. So helping me build this product is my co-founder, Priscilla Chang, who is working on the hardware and the firmware, and Stephen Link, who is our iOS developer, and myself, Liz Mazmanian, working on business development. And we have a team of advisors, Carrie Pregram, who works at the UCLA Medical Center as a physical therapist, and Matthew Hilton, who is a physical therapist at the University of Delaware. We are Momentum, and we are improving rehabilitation by bridging the gap between what happens at the clinic and what happens at home. If you're interested in seeing a demo, come talk to us after. Thank you.
All right. I'll keep the party going. Thank you all for being here. My name is Aaron Bergman. I'm one of the co-founders of Nonsense. So let's just get into it. Retirement. This is the longest paid vacation that we will take in our lifetime. So what are we doing to prepare for it? Well, we have to get started early. Unfortunately, my generation, millennials, are struggling to do that. There are 83 million of us. We're the largest generation currently in the United States. And unfortunately, 34 million of us have $0 in savings when it comes to planning for our future. I want you to think about this 34 million because they're a special group. These are folks that struggle with finance. Anything financially related is scary. We often think that we're too broke to start saving, and we don't know how to save. And I say we because I'm part of that group. So that's what got me and my team to launch Nonsense, which is an app to help this specific group of individuals take the first step towards planning for their retirement. How does it work? The first thing that we do is we remove all the financial jargon from the app, because all that's scary and makes us back away. Next, we just want to focus on getting people to start saving. We do that by allowing you to tip yourself on purchases that you make. Once you build up your savings, we connect you to financial institutions in order to invest and grow your money. Let's take a look at the app because we've made it as frictionless as possible. The design came not from the fintech industry, but from the consumer industry. So we looked at the Nike Run Club app and the Starbucks app when we designed it. All you have to do is enter your bank account and credit card information, and then you're going to choose things that you'd like to spend on. You can choose all of them. Let's just say we choose shopping. Then you're going to pick a percentage that's going to get added on every time you spend. So you go to J.Crew, you spend $100, you chose 10%, swipe your card, and we'll take $10 from your checking account and transfer it into your savings account. So you tip yourself every time you do something you like to do. The goal here is just to get you focused on these small steps, just building up your monthly savings and making it goal-oriented. I know most of you are thinking, okay, so how do you make money? We want to keep this app free for our users. So what we found was that we can generate revenue through a referral process. We take our users who build up their savings, who normally would never step foot, or in this case, go on the internet and start to open up an account with a financial institution, and we connect them at this point when they're comfortable, and we're able to they become net new users to these financial institutions, and they start contributing to the funds within those institutions. And through market comparable research and also many talks with people internally in these institutions, we found we could start as low as a $50 referral fee. So how are we going to get people on? We're starting right here in Los Angeles with companies. The workplace is one of the most trusted places to receive financial information. So we're working with employers to offer this app for free to their employees. And in just 1 month, August, we were able to sign Sprinkles Cupcakes, Bestia Restaurant Group, Press Juicery, and a national nonprofit called Year Up to offer the app to their employees, which is totaling to over 4,000 individuals. Next, we want to work with the universities. So we're looking to work with the career centers in order to offer the app to students who are juniors and seniors that are going to be entering the workforce as either interns or full-time employees. Because we all know the earlier you get started, we can take advantage of that thing that I never knew about called compounding. And lastly, we're looking to work on a bigger scale with benefit providers. So we're in talks with a company in New York City called JustWorks, who offers benefit solutions to small and medium businesses, over thousands of them across the country. So we're in this space, and we feel like we're offering a very different tool for people. For starters, we are connecting individuals with banks at an earlier stage than they ever would be able to connect. We're not trying to be the bank, so we're not trying to get money off of assets under management. Second is, we're targeting this very specific demographic who we feel is neglected or misunderstood. People who just need to take their first step. We're not looking at targeting savvy investors who know what the letters ETF mean or looking to get better trades on their stocks. And lastly, we are focused on long-term investment, not interim savings. We're not looking to help people save up for the VIP Coachella ticket next year. We're trying to help people plan so that they can go to Coachella when they're 60 and not have to worry about it. So the progress that we've had so far, because we're 2 weeks out from our beta, would not be possible without the team that we have. 3 of the co-founders, we are all Anderson third years in the FEMBA program, which is the part-time program. That's where we all met. We come from a real diverse background of strategic marketing, of sales, and of business development. And what we're really excited about and most proud of is our development team that has come on to work for us for equity, which has been, if you know, a blessing. We have a back-end developer, a full-stack developer, a front-end developer, and also a UX UI designer. So before I close, this is a real passion play for us. As I told you, I'm part of this generation, and part of that 34 million, and I was shocked to find out these statistics. So what we're trying to do is create this app to help people so they don't have to be in this position, and hopefully make a change for the future. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Patrick, and I'm here to tell you why brands like Subway, Chick-fil-A, Denny's, Coffee Bean, and more trust Playful to drive engagement to their stores. All these brands have one problem in common. 70% of their new customers never come back, which contributes to 80% of their stores closing in the first 5 years, including franchises. The #1 tool they currently use to solve this problem is social media. They think that this is the best way they can engage their customers and convince them to come back. However, the average engagement in terms of likes, comments, shares across these platforms is 0.64%. That's terrible. To put things in perspective, that's like if we filled Poly Pavilion to the max, tried to start an 8-clap, and then only had these people in the corner respond. Not very good. So, what is engaging? Games. People love playing games. On average, gamers spend 3 hours a day playing games, which is representative of the majority of the population, with 63% of adults playing games, and it's also representative of the future, with 97% of children playing games. So how do we take this awesome engagement from games and transform it into real-life engagement for our restaurants? That's where we come in. Our platform is super simple. First, we host games that players can play anytime, anywhere. Next, based on their performance, they earn points, which can then be redeemed for real rewards. We have an active base of highly engaged users, with players on average playing 30-minute-long games a week, and our top 10% of players play over 300 games a week. In the next few weeks, we plan to leverage this engagement by launching geolocation-based games, similar to Pokemon Go, where we can take our players, put them directly in our restaurants, and increase their sales. Our acquisition strategy is to integrate with campus events and acquire users at no cost. Today, we're partnered with the 3 largest campus events here at UCLA. LA Hacks, which is the largest hackathon in the nation, Dance Marathon, which is the largest student-run philanthropic event on the West Coast, and Bruin Bash. This is UCLA's back-to-school concert and the largest student-run event all year. Our restaurants love the engagement we bring them during these events, and now we're currently working on ways to take this engagement and spread it to their stores nationwide. In the next 6 months, we plan to conclude our pilot in Westwood by launching at other colleges, like maybe the guys across town. In the next year, we plan on launching nationally through our existing restaurant networks. And lastly, because this model works with brands outside of restaurants, in the next 5 years, we plan on launching with brands around the world. We make money in 2 ways. First, we charge restaurants every single time we send them a customer and then upsell them on analytics and CRM solutions. On the gaming side, we offer microtransactions for accessories and power-ups. Let's take a look at our position in the market. Our beachhead demographic is millennials. And last year, they spent $1.1 billion on mobile game microtransactions. They also spent $2.1 billion on mobile food services. That's generated when someone orders food through their phone, and it's on top of the food cost. So this is quite an ambitious project, but we're the team to do it. We all have technical backgrounds, and we have very strong team dynamics. For example, Roman and Zoo are roommates and have worked together for the past 6 years. Alex and Andrew are also roommates and have known each other since 8th grade. So together, we're raising a seed round in the next few months. I have one last thing. It's a little gift. Today, if you download Playful and use the referral code StartupUCLA, you will automatically get a free sandwich at Chick-fil-A and a free drink at Coffee Bean. Not bad. And so we're Playful, and we believe that play will make the world a better place. Thank you.
How are we doing? Keeping the energy up? That's what I like to see. My name is Alex Gostomelski. I'm here to present Nopical.com. Nopical is your news feed on steroids, the good kind of steroids. Nopical, we're presenting topical news. We face a grave societal problem. Everybody thinks they're a journalist. Whether it's in interpersonal interaction or on social media, everybody has strong thoughts, strong beliefs, strong opinions, and they share them eagerly and freely. The problem, of course, is they're also the worst journalists that you know. We all have that friend on Facebook that's posting long, opinionated essays that just seem baseless. But this stems from a greater problem on the market. Users cannot find an effective way to consume and share news because there's simply too much content out there. They go site to site to site looking for relevant information. They turn to social media like Twitter and Facebook that have broken discovery models. Then they turn to news aggregators like Flipboard and Feedly that drop users into the dreaded filter bubble. Filter bubble is defined as a user's inclination to only consume the content that they feel comfortable consuming. And current products on the market promote this behavior. They offer biased and hollow representations of news and content, and as a result, users feel trapped and they don't know what to do. We have the solution. Enter Nopical.com. Nopical collects stories from thousands of news and media sources and ranks them on our page based on how many times they've been shared across the web. We take the sources and the news itself and we segment it out between our 12 major category pages like breaking news, sports, politics, and etc. We leverage abbreviated detail similar to a headline or a tweet and eye-catching visuals to grab the user's attention, but also allow them to consume a lot of information in a shorter period of time. Should a user want to explore a topic further, they can click on one of our tiles and they are taken out to our overlay. This is an example for a user that wants to get the leg up on their fantasy football season, but you can understand how useful a function like this will be in politically charged stories that have multiple perspectives and where users can really get a comprehensive outlook on a story or a topic. Now, we have solved the challenge and the problems and the discovery that users face on traditional news sites and social media. We've eliminated the filter bubble that news aggregators present, and now I'm going to show you how users are taking this improved content and sharing more effectively. When you sign up for Nautical.com, you'll be able to create dashboards on the topics that you find interesting. When you're browsing on Nautical, you'll find different stories and pieces of content that you can post to these dashboards, and they serve as a personal library for you to revisit stories later, but also attach that to your social commentary that you're already sharing out on your social networks like Flipboard and Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. So with the NBA Hall of Fame ceremony kicking off tomorrow night, there's been a lot of news around Allen Iverson. I created a dashboard around the answer and some of his highlight clips that have been coming out. I find that he's more than just the guy that's talking about practice. He's the real deal. And I shared it out to my social network. So you see how easy it is to create this type of dashboard on just about any topic and how users can create a following using Nautical. Nautical will be a user's central hub for consuming and sharing news. We launched our first beta last summer, and that version of the website was already getting 11,000 views a month simply through organic traffic. The version that I just showed you with the enhanced social elements just launched a couple weeks ago. But our first model was retaining 20% of our users and commanding 14 minutes of their time per session. And we believe these enhanced social features will command their time for even longer and grow that passionate user base that we're after. To quickly touch on the business model, we'll monetize through advertising. We've set some lofty user goals to make this a real high growth, high revenue business. We've established some other different business opportunities like analytics and consumer behavior reports, which we can package and sell off because we are such a massive data aggregator. As far as our timeline goes, like I mentioned, we just launched our second beta, and now we're focused on adding 10,000 reoccurring engaged users by year end and 100,000 users by next year. We will launch a native mobile app by the end of this year, and with the election gearing up, there really isn't a better time for a news app to come on the market, and we're going to use all that momentum to look for seed funding in Q1 2017. My name is Alex Gostomelsky. I'm the CEO and founder of Nautical.com. I'm a second-year MBA student here at UCLA. I studied finance at George Washington University in DC, worked on Wall Street for 3 years, and in consulting for a couple years after that. We have a tech team of 5 developers led by my CTO, June, who is a tenured web developer at NASA. We are adding 4 more developers October 1st, and we're adding 3 of my high-power classmates to work on user acquisition October 1st as well. Again, my name is Alex Gostomelsky. Please come see Nautical at the booth. Come sign up and improve your daily news experience.